I remember as a child, my mother would ask me a question whenever I'm sitting idle. What are you doing, Praveen? And if I say nothing, she used to shout on me. What do you mean by nothing? Have you seen your math school? Open your math notebook. And if you have nothing to do, come and help me, but do something. Sounds familiar? I always wonder why humans want to stay so busy in their life. Fast forward 40 years, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sirs and ma'ams. I completed the checklist given by life. A big home, a big car, a nice family, stable marriage, nice dog. And doing all this, I was completely burned out, exhausted. Very confident and successful from outside, but empty and lost and even scared from inside. So I decided to leave everything, everyone, all my possessions, and decided to start my solo journey to the Himalayas. Himalayas hosting people from all over the world, by the way, the perfect ground to understand human behavior. Spent more than 1,000 days there, more than 3 years, finding answers. And one of the key realizations during these 1,000 days in the Himalayas is little contrary to what my mother told me. I learned one of the best things you can do in your life to have enough moments in your life when you are doing nothing. And let's do something right now. Let's understand why. But to understand that, you need to understand in just 2003, the scientists discovered one name. They have given a name to this phenomenon called default mode network. What do you mean by that? They found that during the functional MRI of one individual, when the person is resting, doing nothing, still there's a part in the brain very active. And this is the part which is responsible for self-reflection, understanding problems. This is the creative engine of your brain. But this is active only when you are not actively involved in doing something. In other words, doing nothing. They name it default mode network. Have you heard this name before? Okay, good, nice. Now, to understand default mode network, you need to understand the brain itself. I was very surprised at the age of 40 when I realized this, that the brain is not one organ. It has different parts in it, and they're years apart in evolution. Some are just 300,000 years old, and some are even 300 million years old. So to understand default mode network, you need to understand that in our brain's office, there are 4 members, office member. Just like in one office, seniors and juniors work together, even in our brain, seniors and juniors work together. So let's quickly, one by one, understand these 4 office members of our brain. The first is your security head, around 300 million years old. It means it's just not there in humans, it's there in all other animals too. The scientific name is amygdala, very reactive. Role? Survival, keeping us safe. How does it do this? Beautifully, very smart. Imagine you are in the jungle and suddenly you see the tiger, that is threat, danger. Within 10 to 15 milliseconds, not seconds, milliseconds, amygdala is active, security head, active, releases cortisol, which is natural steroid, anti-inflammatory. Why? Because amygdala feels there will be a fight with the danger, with the threat, and there will be wounds, so let's prepare the body. Increases the vasodilation, increases the breadth of the vessels to have more blood in the muscles. For what? So we can fight. We breathe fast. Why? We need more oxygen. Decreases the digestion. Why? We need that energy. Suppresses the immune system. Why? We need that energy too. Complete tunnel vision, focusing only on the danger. Hearing goes down. Why? We need focus to fight with danger. Anything wrong with this system? Of course not. Beautiful system. But the system was designed to manage physical threats. Once in a while, you go into the jungle, you see the tiger, you activate your amygdala, you release cortisol, all good. But what if you are meeting the tiger every day in your mind? What if you are visualizing danger every day in your mind? Your security head doesn't care. The problem is time constraint. I react in just 10 to 15 milliseconds, very little time to decide whether it's reality or imagination. Maybe this is one of the reasons of human misery, that we are confused between thought and reality. That's sad. No other animal has that problem. The second member is your basal ganglia, the scientific name. Basal ganglia is the president of your brain. 200 million years old, but very dumb. Why? Let's explore. The role of basal ganglia is whatever you repeat in your life, make it automatic. I was very surprised during my research that 90 to 95% of your daily life is all automatic habits. We are just acting automatically. Basal ganglia is responsible for that. But that's just half the story. This is the part which is also responsible for discipline and addiction. Now, what is discipline? Something is good, I should do it. That's discipline. What is addiction? Something is bad, but still I want to do it. Automatic. I'm not just talking about smoking and drinking. I remember meeting someone, a lady in the Himalayas, and she said, Praveen, my relationship with my husband is not good. I said, what happened? She said, I have a habit of reading romantic novels before I sleep for hours, so much that she had to compromise her romantic life for that. That's addiction. Basal ganglia, whatever you repeat, it makes it automatic. Doesn't care, good or bad. That's sad. But it's not the evolutionary problem, because 200 million years ago, we were hardly doing anything wrong. Today also, every animal on the planet Earth, they repeat only those things which is important for them. And they walk for days to find the grassland. They fly for months to lay the eggs. Everything is important for survival. So basal ganglia takes this granted that whatever you are repeating is important for survival. Doesn't matter good or bad. But not necessarily humans are repeating only those things which are important for their survival. There's again a problem with humans. The third member is your HR manager, just 25 million years old. The scientific name is anterior cingulate cortex. Very sensitive to any conflicts. Your mother asking you, do you need tea or coffee? You can't decide, that's a conflict. You can't, shall I take this job, not this, conflict. Shall I continue this marriage, not continue this marriage? Conflict. One of the most common conflicts I've seen in the Himalayas among people across the world is chronic dissatisfaction. I am not satisfied. It means I'm dissatisfied. That's a conflict. Now, moment there's a conflict, your HR manager will inform your security head that there's a conflict. And security head is reactive. As soon as there is a conflict, your security head treats every conflict as danger and releases cortisol. At the same time, your HR manager, anterior cingulate cortex, will also inform your president, basal ganglia, hey, there's a conflict. And if you have the habit of living with conflict, not solving it, then basal ganglia makes it automatic. So the habit is living with conflict and constant stress. Whether you ask WHO or ChatGPT, one of the key reasons why even donkeys are not dying because of heart disease and diabetes and suicide, because of the low-grade chronic stress. Humans are not even aware that they are stressed. It's all automatic. But there's a good news. Your HR manager also informed one more part. There's a fourth member of our brain, prefrontal cortex. That's a modern brain. In last 300,000 years, there's a major transformation in this part in humans. Experts call it cognitive revolution. This is the part which is responsible for focus, rational thinking, taking decisions. This is the part because of which agriculture started. Imagine a man's, a woman standing with a seed in hand and saying that I'm not going to eat this impulsively like any other animal. Rather, I will plant this seed on the ground and wait till next season. This is the act of delayed gratification, the magic of waiting, something which really differentiates us from other animals. We can wait. Prefrontal cortex is such a recent introduction, the transformed prefrontal cortex, that it goes offline when you sleep. That's the reason in dreams you fly. There's no logic because your logic center is offline. When the child takes birth, human child, basal ganglia, amygdala becomes very active within few months. But prefrontal cortex remains under construction till the age of 2025. That's the reason kids, they need everything now. Teenagers are unable to choose the right options because they are biologically wired for impulsive decisions. And sometimes adults have to become their external prefrontal cortex, help them to see all the options so they can take the correct decisions. So when you are doing nothing, all these organs, they come together, they do a board meeting, they're working together, they're building network, they're solving problems. That's a creative engine of your mind. But the question remains the same. Why we are so busy? Because the default mode network is active only when you are not actively busy outside. So where we are busy? Why humans are busy? We can be busy only through these five senses. Either we are busy in watching, smelling, tasting, touching, or listening. Are we too busy in listening? Listening to this accumulated sound of city? Or sometimes listening to this continuous mental chatter going on? Sometimes your mind can be a very bad roommate, talking whole day. And most of what it talks is useless, sometimes cruel. But you believe in it, and amygdala reacts, damage is done. The most important thing one can do to activate default mode network is to stop listening to yourself on autopilot. The problem is not overthinking. Thinking is good. The problem is over-talking inside the mind. Thoughts are nice. Moment you are noticing thought, not following thought, not attaching to it, not clinging to it. Thoughts are like clouds, just passing. And you are the sky, not the cloud. One of the key realizations in the Himalayas is the space between your thought and your reaction. This is the space where the real freedom lives, the real awareness lives. This is the space where busyness stops. But if there is no gap between your thought and reaction, it's all automatic robotic life. But there's a flip side to it. In case of depression, we develop the hyperactive default mode network. People often think too much because they have nothing to do in their life. And they found themselves caught in this vicious cycle of thinking too much about past and failures and worthlessness. So the key is balance. Your brain is smart. Whenever you are active outside, it automatically suppresses default mode network. And when you are not busy, you are done with the task, it activates default mode network. So next time when you are done with your task and you have nothing to do in your life, don't feel bad about it. Because the moment you feel bad about it, there is conflict. The moment there's conflict, there is cortisol. There's cortisol, there is stress. There's stress, there's chronic diseases. And next time if your mother asks you, what are you doing? And if you say nothing, say with a smile, Because that is the best thing you can do for your healthy mind. You are giving yourself a gift of ideas, a gift of freedom, a gift of creativity. By doing nothing, you are simply being. Thank you.